Did that work? Oh my God, that was a bit of a nightmare. So, hi, the world of YouTube. This is my first live. Been a bit of a pickle. I was going to actually try and do it on my phone, but turned out that you have to have a certain amount of subscribers to do that. So, for now, I'm just going to. Obviously, I'm on holiday at the moment. I'm in Bulgaria, and I didn't do a video last week, so I thought I'd do a video this week, and I thought I'd try and do a live. So this is your chance just to ask some questions. I'm never going to say that I know everything. I've only been doing the jobs maybe 7 months now. So I'm not going to say that I know everything, but if you have some things that you want to ask regarding stuff about my videos, stuff about me, etc., then feel free. But as for now, I'll just do like a quick chat so you kind of get to know who I am, etc. So I'm Michael. I've had various jobs over my time. I was a professional golfer for a bit. I worked in pro shops. I've been working for my dad in a security company for 7-8 years now. And basically what that's entailed is being an office manager doing security systems, dealing with sort of on-call stuff, so dealing with key holders and things like that. And then I got myself a dog, got myself a German Shepherd around 2 years ago, and decided I wanted to maybe try and do something else. So the way in which I went about that is I enjoyed doing the training with him, just doing normal obedience training and things like that with him. And then once I really got into that, I wanted to see how far I could push him. So to do that, I looked at what kind of jobs that he would be good for, and obviously security work is up there for German Shepherds. Thought about police, but obviously there's a good chance I wouldn't be able to take my dog into the police, because they obviously have their own ones that they have, and they have to pass certain grades to get to where it is. So thought a lot about that. Spoke to the girlfriend about it, because obviously a lot of dog stuff is night work and things like that, and it's whether our sort of lifestyle would account for that, whether she'd be happy for me to do that kind of stuff. But it turns out that she was happy. She thought it would be good for the dog as well, give him more of a job to do, because where we was living on an annex on the side of my mum and dad's house, he never really had a job during the day, so he used to get up to a lot of trouble, whether that was digging holes, chasing rabbits, things like that. So giving the dog a job to do as well was also something that she was quite keen on doing. So looking at that, I knew someone that was already in the industry, and they was keen to help, and they gave me some information about it, things like that, and gave me the name of the trainer. And so I contacted them just to see whether it would be possible for me to do the training with the dog. Obviously, as a human being, you can learn. But when it comes to being a dog and being on the dog side, the dog has to have obviously a certain amount of skills that it needs in order to be able to do it. Now, whether that's the bite work, that's obviously detection work. There's other things like article search and things like that. And when we went down to the training for the first time, the dog was not good, obviously, because I'd had him for a pet for 14, 15 months. And then obviously a lot of the stuff that I'd done, I'd encouraged him not to bark at people, not to confront people, etc., as you would in a normal holiday. I am on holiday, and a normal home environment. So it was very much that built up as a pet dog. Now, people that know a lot of stuff about this, there's a big difference between a pet dog and a protection dog. And if you go to a site, okay, people are still wary of German Shepherds, but when you get one that's properly trained in terms of confronting people and things like that, you'll see the difference in between the two. So we went to the first training session. His obedience was reasonably good because obviously as a pet, I've done a lot of work on that. So that was fine. And then we went into, he wasn't obviously trying to get the dog to bite at the time because the dog's not been trained. So basically what he was doing, he was just seeing that if he had a rag and he tried to flick the dog or he put the towel over the dog's face, like, would the dog get the ump? Would the dog tell him to go away? And things like that. And my dog had no interest in it whatsoever. Although he had good ball drive and good play drive to a certain degree as a pet, he had no intentions of really playing with the trainer and telling him to go away when he was trying to aggravate the dog. So that was obviously not the best. And he said to me at the time, he said, look, at the moment, the dog's not looking like he's got what it takes. But if you feel that you want to try and do this, and then I'll give you some time in order to do it. So they gave me probably about a month to 6 weeks just to get the dog going and turn up to training, obviously, but to see if we can get something coming out of the dog in which the trainer could then say, okay, there's a possibility there's something in here. A lot of that involved me outside training hours, so I was turning up to training once, twice a week, and I was basically doing all the training there. But when we went away, I would spend probably 2 hours a day just continuing the training, just doing bits and pieces here and there. It wasn't so much all the bite work. That wasn't at that time. That wasn't really something I was really worried about. What I was worried about was getting the confidence out of the dog, because of obviously the pet training and that. You kind of take it out of the dog to be confident, so the dog's not confident to go up to the door or to people and tell them to go away. That's why you get a lot of dogs that will come to the door and they'll bark, 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 but if you step in towards them, they will back off. That's where the pet bit has been, the confidence has been taken out of them. So what I was interested in trying to do was to try and get that confidence in the dog, that if someone comes towards you, you just stand your ground. Like, you stand there, let them come to you, and you just don't let them pass. And a lot of that was doing obviously play stuff and things like that, and giving him the confidence to come forwards at me when I was trying to be sort of aggressive. But I wasn't. I was just trying to get him to come forwards to me rather than me going towards him. Like I say, we've done a lot of that. He's always been pretty good with his nose in terms of searching and sniffing stuff out. So a lot of like the article search and sort of the stuff in terms of finding people, etc. That was pretty easy to come by. And I'd say within probably 2 to 3 weeks, I started seeing a little bit of improvement in terms of that. When we went to training, if the trainer was trying to wind the dog up, he would stand his ground a little bit more. There started to be a little bit more barking towards people, which is obviously, as a pet, you'd take that out of them as well. So he started to bark when someone was starting to really annoy him, and if someone started coming forwards, he started standing his ground. So carried on my training. After 4 to 6 weeks, he said, okay, like I can see an improvement. I can see the work that you're putting in outside training as well, and I'll be happy to do a lot more training with you, rather than telling you like, don't waste your money, the dog's not got it, or if you want to do this, you need to get yourself another dog. So he was happy, and we carried on doing the training, like I say, twice a week. I signed up for my SIA license as a security guard. You can get the door supervisor or security guard. Security guard is the one you need. You can do it on a door supervisor license, but I believe that's more training than you actually need, because I think in kind of door supervisor, you deal with not tackling people, but you know what I mean, like one-on-one kind of confrontations where with the security guarding, you just learn the security guarding side. So if you have got a door supervisor license or you sign up to do a door supervisor license, then that's fine. So like I say, I signed up for that and started doing that because I couldn't start doing bite work without an SIA license. So I make sure that if you are going to start doing that stuff, make sure you get your license first. Every trainer should know that anyway. And so that was that like a 3-day course, I think it is. I think a 3 or 4 day course, the last day just being a test, no learning. And this all goes back to my first video from pet protection. A lot of the stuff of this is in there. And so we've done our training, and then we built the dog up. He started becoming good. He started to do, especially with me, with like the little tug toys, he started really gripping onto them and really improved. Anyway, down the line, started my NASDO, which 60 hours of doing that. And in December, we ended up passing our NASDO as a team. So I passed my 2 exams, and then the dog passed on his bits, which involve searching. So that would be like a patrol, so that the dog can sniff someone out. Bite work. In order for the dog to pass on the NASDO, he has to bite a sleeve. So as long as I'm not saying it if he's just pinching it, but it doesn't have to be like the top bite in order for him to pass. As long as they latch onto a sleeve and they pull or they push, whichever way your trainer does it, then that is a pass. Now on that, speaking to my trainer, getting the dog to pull is always better than getting the dog to push. So when a dog pushes you, he's pushing you back, but to us, or my trainer, you still have use of your legs because you're falling back, your feet are in front of you where the dog is. If the dog pulls, it's obviously pulling your upper body forwards, and it's quite hard to kick a dog or to kick forwards if your upper body is above the dog. And then you've got things like agility, and there's some other bits and pieces. So he passed all of that, and obviously I passed my 2 tests as well. And that was us ready to go to work. Now you can, whilst you're doing your NASDO, you can work your dog. So if you're thinking about whether you pass your NASDO and then get the dog, or get the dog and then try and do your NASDO, let's say that there's a company that will lend you a dog in order to complete your NASDO, you could go that way and then buy your dog. But I always think to get your dog and you and the dog go through the whole NASDO process, just so that you learn how to teach the dog. It's quite easy if someone gives you a ready-made dog that you feel that you're doing all the right things when the dog has been doing this for 3 or 4 years, let's say, and you're not really handling the dog's kind of handling you. So you feel like you're doing really well and that you're really improving, but actually what it is the dog's so used to this that he's just doing it and making you look good. Where if you do it with your own dog the same way I've done it, is that you both make mistakes through it, and it's easy for the trainers in that to point out where these mistakes are made, and you learn your dog as well. So a lot of this is that I've learned when my dog's about to kick off. I've learned what he's good at, what he's not good at, what parts. Sometimes if he's doing a patrol and he starts coming off the scent, I know that if I start shouting and raising my voice again, it clocks him back in. So he's like, okay, yeah, that's what we was doing. But if you are thinking about doing that, when you sign up for your NASDO, you can work your dog whilst you're doing your NASDO. You can kind of work whilst you train. So I think it's a good idea if you're going to go through this, is have your dog and then go into it, and you both go through it together. So that's December last year. So I then went away, kind of looked at what I wanted to do. Now the company that gave me the details for the trainer, and that they was going to take me on straight away, which is nice. So they just said to us, look, you let us know when you want to start, what you want to do, and we'll try and fit in around you, which was also nice because it meant that I could just do 3 days a week as I do now, and I could say, look, I want to do this day, and that day, and then they'll say, okay, we've got these shifts, and away you go. So I decided to not get involved in the Christmas and New Year period because I get time off of my job then, and also I didn't want to come in, start working Christmas and New Year. Didn't really want to interfere with some other people because through that time you get a lot of bank holidays and people may be looking to use them bank holidays in order to get extra money, because a lot of them are double pay. So I didn't want to come in and start taking money off people and things like that. So I got a feeling it was about January the 8th-ish, I want to say, and I started. May have been later than that. Could be a complete lie. Like mid January, let's say. I started my first shift. There is a first shift video, which, to be honest, I like the video, but I like the video because I documented it. Thing is with this is that because a lot of stuff's at night, I just wish that I've been able to do a little bit more of my first shift on site. But I think it's a decent video as an insight to someone on their first shift, what you can kind of expect. So I turned up to somewhere that was dark and dingy, and basically I met another dog handler, and I'd actually met at training before. And luckily enough, the site was split into two kind of separate bits. So he put me in one bit and I was in the other bit. And he kind of just left me to it. I think I'd done a 12-hour shift, 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. And I turned up 7 o'clock. He gave me a quick tour of the site. I'd say by about 8:30, we kind of just separated. And that was the last time I see him until about 2-3 in the morning when he come and checked on me, just to make sure everything was going well, make sure everything was okay, etc. But he was within earshot if anything had kicked off. And yeah, like I say, for that shift, it was pretty good. Just got out, done my patrols. It lashed down with rain from memory. Got absolutely clattered on throughout the shift, but it was a decent insight into it. And I think I've done about 3 or 4 of these shifts with someone else, just to kind of ease me into it and get me used to sort of doing it on site. Because although you can do as much training as you want, until you actually have to go on site and do it yourself, it is actually you actually don't really learn what it's like to sit on your own for so long for that amount of time. Because for 12 hours to be on your own, especially when it's January and it's raining and it's just you and the dog, you can see how someone quite early on could maybe turn away from it. And I'm kind of glad that I did do it started in January, because I kind of what can I say? I've gone through the worst, and now I'm in July. I can kind of appreciate like the nicer weather, and I know what's coming in sort of November through to sort of March. I know what's coming already. So, so I've done about 3 or 4 shifts there, and they was good. The bloke really helped me out. He got me used to it, and then I started doing shifts on my own, in which I then had to sort of take it upon myself to check certain bits and pieces and make sure that I was doing the right stuff. Sorry, there's a fly around it to drive me mad. And obviously, when it comes down to you, if something does happen, then you have to take it upon yourself to deal with it. Obviously, in the first couple of shifts, if something had happened, I had a backup in the other handler that would say, right, kind of sort it out, but then make me do all of the other work. And to be honest with you, for the first sort of maybe 3 or 4 shifts, it is quite nervy. You do end up sort of sitting there a lot, hearing noises, thinking that stuff's going on when it's not really. You get quite jumpy when your dog barks. but it might just be a cat or a fox. But even then, you just have to go and investigate, see what was going on, etc. And then, so I was on that site till about May. So January to May, I was kind of on that site, just especially with lockdowns and that, because at the time lockdown, that site went 24 hours. So I was doing 7 till 7, and then there'd be someone that come on the day 7 till 7. And after a while, we split it up a little bit more. So 1 week I'd do 2 night shifts, and then the following week I'd do 2 night shifts, 2 day shifts. And the day shifts were better, to be fair, because like there was a lot more going on, and as silly as it sounds, it could be just things like little birds hopping around, or like squirrel running around the car park and that, and it just made it makes the time go a bit quicker. The thing is, at night when you can't see anything, it's what you are looking at that really determines on whether you can how occupied you keep yourself. I know a lot of people use their phones. I do the same, use my phone, maybe watch a movie, things like that. But you obviously have to realise that you have to keep your eye on the ball the whole time, and you can't have it blaring in your ears so you can't hear anything. And a lot of this is that people will try and let their dogs kind of look over the site, so they'll point their van with their boot open so that the dogs can see if someone's walking across. Now, that's all well and good, but it's your job to look after the site. The dog's just there for your protection. So you have to make sure that you hear and see everything and things like that. So obviously the night shifts, they can be a bit cruel, but I think once you get used to them like I have now, I think you kind of get yourself into a little routine of like how you set yourself up, especially if you're at a site. Like the site I've been at now, I've been there for a couple of months maybe. I've got myself used to, right, okay, so I'll set up, when I get there I'll do this, and then this is how I'll set up. It's a little different for me because sometimes I have some cabins to be in, sometimes I don't, depends if they leave the generator on. So if I do have the cabin, then I know my little setup. I say, okay, this is my setup, I'll do this. And then if I don't have the cabin, then this is how I set up my van for the night. So you get used to your little setup and you get used to your little routine. And so just going back, so I was at that site until about April or May, I think it was. And I enjoyed it there, but there wasn't a lot going on, and things started opening up, and there was already 2 handlers on there, and it made sense that obviously I was the last one on, that I got given kind of my own site. So after that, I got moved on to the site I'm on now, which is a nice little pokey site. It's just looking after like a compound and that, and it's not very big. It's only, what is it, probably like 100 yards by about 50, 70 yards. So it's not a lot to kind of patrol. I know one of the other handlers, they was put on there whilst I had a few days off, and he just said to me, he's like, I don't know how you do it. Like, there's just nothing to patrol, there's nothing to do and things like that. But the way I look at it is that if there's nothing to do, then you make something to do. Like if you're bored at home, you don't just sit there bored, you find something to do, don't you? So it's the same with me and the dog on this site. Yes, there's not loads to patrol. Yes, I could probably not patrol my dog, and I could just look out and have a look around, shine my torch about and say, yeah, it's all okay, and go back in. But then your dog doesn't obviously, you don't obviously work your dog goes rusty, your dog just gets lazy. So yeah, I just find stuff for us to do and things like that. So I think a lot of this job is that it's up to you to kind of do it yourself. A lot of people that I've kind of listened to and spoken to and that, they've said that like they have a sleep and there's a doorbell in their van that is triggered by sensors, and if someone walks around or one of the sensors is pinged, then the doorbell goes off, the dog goes off and wakes him up. Now I don't see that as working. That's just getting paid to have a sleep or whatever. So I think it's upon yourself, and this is kind of why I've done this kind of YouTube channel. Is like, I think a lot of dog handlers get a bad reputation. Maybe some of them because of the way they act, but some of them, I think, especially stories and things like that, especially with the bite work and bite stuff, things like that, is that once it happens to one person, I think the whole industry kind of gets a bad name. And the reason that I've done this is just to bring light and shed light onto how much more there is to being a security dog handler than there is just doing bite work. When you ask someone about you having a security dog, all they think about is that your dog just bites people. Well, he doesn't. My dog doesn't just bite people. He doesn't just attack people. If you meet my dog can be your best friend. He can be really happy. You can play ball with him, etc. I can let him off the lead. He'll have loads of fun. But if I need him to, then yes, I can get him to spark towards you. And if you carry on and you become aggressive, yes, he will bite you. But it's very rare that this happens. I was speaking to Nathan. I think it's Nathan. I was speaking to him the other day. Nathan, I'm sorry, but I am so bad with names. But I was speaking to him the other day, and he said that he's spoken to people about working in this industry. They've been working in it 10, 15 years and never had a live bite. And that's kind of why I've got my dog to where I am now. Like, everyone that sees my dog, they're like, oh, don't get the dog, don't have the sleeve on doing it with your dog. I can understand that, because if the dog really wants to bite someone, then okay, you've trained him that he can bite you. But the reason that I've done that, decoyed my own dog, is that at the time, I was putting in that extra in order to do it. So the relationship me and my dog have with it is a game, and it is fun. Now, when he does it with other people, it is serious, and he is a lot different to when he does it with me. So, but yeah, the only issue channel is just to show people that there is so much more to being a security dog handler. And I don't think that people should just look at our dogs as biting machines, because they're not. I can send my dog off to go and find your wallet. I can send my dog off to go and find your phone. If you lost your car keys in a field, I can send him off here and go and find them. Like, there's a lot more to this than it is just having a dog that wants to bite and kill everyone and things like that. And like I say, this is why I've got my dog to where he is now, because I don't want to take him too far over the top that he becomes dangerous. I'm quite happy with the way that my dog is. Sorry. I'm quite happy the way that I've got my dog is now, because my dog's still very sociable. And I think if I could do it again, I'd still do it the same way. That I wouldn't take him over the top to the point where I wouldn't be able to have him around people. Because at the end of the day, when I say to you that the biting is such a minimal part to this job, and so it doesn't happen that often, is that, do I really want to have a dog that I can't have around people for a 1 in 10,000 day? No. I'm quite happy that if my dog is confident enough and abrupt enough that someone doesn't want to approach me, then I'm quite happy with that. And if it comes to the point where we have no other option and he has to bite someone, he will. I'm quite happy with that. I don't want a dog that will just bite randomly, or that you have to tell not to bite someone just because they're acting a bit differently. I think in a video not too long ago, I said about the guy in the park when we was walking through, and he'd stopped running, checking his watch. He was walking towards us, breathing really heavily, moving his arms, and the dog kicked off. Now, that's the first time that's happened in a year of me doing this training. So if I pushed him too far and that happened every time we went out, then to me that would just be that. I just wouldn't enjoy that, and I don't think it's good for the dog as well, is that he's constantly like that. My dog can quite easily relax around people and things like that, but he can also click on if he needs to. So yeah, I just want to put out there like some of the aims for this channel. Like I say, this channel, I would like to maybe do some more lives and things like that. And if people have got questions, because I get a lot of people asking me questions in comments and They're asking good questions. They are good questions, but I kind of have to then do a video. Maybe it's like 2 or 3 weeks until the video comes out, because I try and do like one a week if I can, or I try and give them an answer there and then. But sometimes I'm not going to know all the answers. So what I would like to do is try and do this maybe like once every other week or once a week, where we'll just kind of meet, have a chat. And if I don't know the answer, there could be a dog handler that's more experienced than me in the chat that can help with that. So I'm not saying that I know. I've said I don't know everything, and there's going to be people that are far more experienced than I am that's going to be able to help more with this stuff. So yeah, in terms of subscribers, the channel's just going to grow at a rate that it grows at. There's nothing I can really do about that. I don't like doing clickbait videos. I don't like doing videos that are just going to get me hits. Like I could do a video on how to make your dog sit, but how many videos are there about that? Like, I'm trying to keep this a bit more specialised to me and my protection dog, me as a dog handler, my dog as a security protection dog. And we're just going to make videos about that. And if it turns out that a lot of the videos are just our week and things that we go through and things that we do, then so be it. And if people like it, they'll watch. And if people don't like it, then they won't watch. So yeah. Well, I'm going to carry on my holiday now. I'll see how this goes. I wasn't expecting anyone to pop into it, because it's the first one I've done, but hopefully if you watch this one, you'll give me a thumbs up, maybe you'll subscribe. And if I get enough good responses about this, then maybe I'll pick a time each week that we can do. And once people start knowing that, okay, every Tuesday at 6:30, we're going to sit down for half hour, we'll have a chat, have a catch up about what's been going on, if someone's got any stories about their week, etc. And I think once it becomes something that's in like your weekly schedule, say TV schedule, but in your weekly schedule, then maybe we'll get some more people in. So I'm not disappointed that no one's come on. I was expecting it, but I wanted to get a video out, and I thought it'd be good just for me just to sit down on my first live, because it is quite nerve-wracking. Obviously, I can't cut and paste and do all the things I normally do in a video when I normally make all my mess ups, so then I can just cut a bit out and just kind of throw it all together. So I'm quite happy the way this has gone, and hopefully you'll give me some thumbs up that you like this. And like I say, we can do it once a month, once every other week, once a week, however many people want to do it. But as for now, I hope you like this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe as well, because I'll be doing lots more videos when I get back. Whilst I've been away, I've been trying to throw together some ideas of different things I can do, so not every video is the same. And yeah, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again next time. See you later. Bye. I'll turn this off now.